Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. Here you get relevant and timely content you won't find anywhere else. You can learn more by going to mustreadalaska.com, and this show can be found on YouTube, Facebook, X, and your favorite podcast site. Let's talk truth about politics, the economy, and all things Alaska. Now, the host of the show, former state legislator, combat veteran, small business owner, and all-around great guy, Ben Carpenter.
Welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show, friends. I'm Ben Carpenter, your host and guide on a journey of discovery of truth and independent-minded thinking. Must Read Alaska exists because discovering the truth is hard. It calls upon us to be relentless in defense of common sense, our faith in God, and the exceptional values enshrined in our Constitution. Freedom is not free. It is not for the timid. It was not secured by the weak of heart or mind. Maintaining freedom requires every one of us to be alert to daily encroachments on our liberties and on the grand deceptions of those seeking power and control over others. Every generation must pledge their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, and we must never take our freedom for granted. We are not anti-government. We are pro-government, of the people, by the people, and for the people. Today we have three special guests with us. Let me make a couple quick introductions to set the stage, and then we'll get started with a conversation here. Kim Bates is with us. She's a public school teacher on the Kenai Peninsula. And Aimee Sims is with us. She's also a public school teacher, but lives up in Anchorage. And Garry Sigle is the Central Region Director for the Association of American Educators. And this is the panel that we have with us today. They're here to talk about benefit options for public school teachers. Good morning, all. Kim, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and what you see as some of the challenges of being a teacher today and why you're excited about AAE.
All right. Well, good morning and thank you, Ben. Yes, I am a second grade teacher here on the Kenai Peninsula. I just received my 20-year pin. So I've been around this area for a while. Prior to that, I was an educator in the Bering Strait School District. And I see that the challenges that I see with our school district, especially as a professional, is being able to advocate for our profession as well as for our students. And so I have been very active in the past with the association that we all are familiar with. I was building rep, rights chair, delegate assembly. I did changed language so that we could have caucuses. So I was the state and local caucus chair so that people's voices were heard, so policies could be made. And it was very challenging, but rewarding at times. And when I, through one of those caucus meetings, I was introduced to Garry at AAE. And I got really excited about the fact that there was an option for me as an educator, as a professional, where I could continue to advocate for the values that I think are important for teachers, for educators, and for our schools and our students. And I also saw that there was a lot of value in the benefits that they offered us compared to what I was paying for and getting with the other association. Those dues were going up and my representation was going down. And that was frustrating to me because we work hard for our money and money's tight around here these days. So I was really excited about hearing what they had to offer. And so I decided to go with AAE because it was an option which I had not heard of in my over 20 years as an educator. I had not heard of this other option.
And I'm going to pause this for just a second and help educate the public who's listening. We're talking about two different associations, but we're using the word association. So when you're talking about the association that you used to participate with, you're actually speaking about the National Education Association Alaska that represents teachers in the school districts. And then the association that that we're here today to discuss and what you've learned existed and didn't know that existed is the Association for American Educators. Two separate entities, two separate groups doing two separate things, but all in the area of supporting teachers. Thank you, Kim, for giving us that introduction. Aimee, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here today.
Hi. Yes. Good morning. Well, I started teaching in the Anchorage School District in 1998. Loved my job. I love teaching. I especially love teaching reading. And over the years, didn't really take into account how I felt about the NEA. Knew that it said that they were there to support me as a teacher, be involved in contract negotiations, but really didn't pay attention to much other than my classroom, the students that I was working with over the years, and my job. In the last few years, I had a colleague invite me to a discussion with Mark Janis, who came up to Alaska and presented about his superior court decision that was made it was 2018, and that teachers or public employees no longer had to pay agency fees for representation. And it got me started thinking about how has my union, my association, represented my colleagues and I. Over the last couple of years, I've heard stories from different people. It just felt that they weren't being represented. And then also was a little concerned when I realized how much my dues were, and was just looking for something a little bit different. And then in 2024, I was invited by another colleague to a teachers conference that also talked about wondering whether, unions were really representing me as a teacher as I would like. And then that's where I heard about AAE and that there were other options besides a union. I had no idea that there were other associations that were dedicated to supporting teachers and helping us in our profession. And so I'm really excited to be here today to let teachers know that there are options if they're not feeling represented, and hopefully find something that will represent their values and also help them in their profession.
Thanks, Aimee. I appreciate that. I know that sometimes the situation there in Anchorage with representation of the union in the school district there can be a challenge for folks who don't necessarily follow exactly with the politics and whatnot of what's going on, and are looking for different options. Garry, thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit, I guess, more about the Association of American Educators and what has been your role? What's your story and your background?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I taught for 33 years here in Kansas, taught and coached. I was a woodworking and drafting instructor, head cross-country, head track and field coach, loved my job. I was a part of the union for the first 15 years of my career. And it just got to the point where I didn't feel like that they represented me personally or professionally. So I went looking for something else. And in 1996, I heard about the Association of American Educators, and immediately dropped my membership in the NEA and joined AAE. And I started telling my colleagues about AAE, and in 2011, I retired from teaching and coaching and became the executive director of the Kansas Association of American Educators. And so for the last 14 years, I've been associated with AAE. And the last couple of years, I've started working at the national level for part of my job, which is how I got connected with Kim and Aimee. And I'm just representing the Association of American Educators.
Does the Association of American Educators have a presence, or is it in every single state in our nation?
Yeah, the Association of American Educators started back in 1994, and we have members in every state in the United States. So yeah, we have members in every state. And
just for a scale here, how many members, how many teachers, educators, or others are participating in the association?
We probably have, and I'm just guessing, but I'd say we probably have around 30 to 35,000 members around the United States. I'm most familiar with Kansas, because that's where I'm the executive director here in Kansas, and we have around 2,500 members here in Kansas. I started back in 2011 with 600, and we just continue to grow each year here in Kansas, and we're doing the exact same thing around the United States.
So what we talked just a little bit, we heard from Kim and Aimee that talked about money and cost here with dues. What is it that the Association of American Educators can do to help with cost for teachers?
Well, a little bit more about us. One of the things that is great about the Association of American Educators is we're very affordable. We're $19.50 a month. In any state in the United States, we're the same amount, $19.50. And that's $234 a year. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, you're going to pay the same exact thing. The nice thing about AAE is that we're non-union. We don't organize teachers for the purpose of collective bargaining. We're also nonpartisan. We don't take anybody's money and use it to promote, fund, or endorse any political candidates. We don't take positions on issues unrelated to education. So all the social issues and things like that, we stay out of all of that. The nice thing is that what educators really join a professional association for is they join to get legal and liability coverage, which we provide. At the start, we provide legal counsel at the start of any job-related issue. We provide $2 million worth of liability coverage, and our policy is equivalent to what you would find with other professional organizations. In fact, we have $2 million worth of liability coverage when others have just $1 million. And the nice thing also is that our policy has the member's name on it, so they're guaranteed to be covered. And it's a per member, per incident policy, not a group policy, like sometimes people say about us, but it's a per member, per incident policy, which all of those things are what educators want and need.
So Kim, participating with NEA-Alaska, and I'd ask the same question of Aimee here because I don't know whether this is different by district or what, but the membership in with NEA-Alaska as the only teachers union here has a dollar figure associated with a monthly dollar figure. Garry has said that the liability insurance that comes with an association membership with the AAE is roughly $20 a month. What are you paying for a similar liability insurance through the teachers union?
So for the Kenai Peninsula area, the Teachers Association, we pay a little over $1,400 a year. Some of that money, very little of that money, goes to our local association, the KPESA. There's about $25 that goes to the PAC, the Political Action Committee. And then the rest of it goes to the NEA-Alaska and then NEA National. Those are the big chunks. You get $1 million liability coverage with NEA. And there is some legal support, but usually the educator has to pay upfront, and then they get reimbursed in certain circumstances. So it's a little bit misleading sometimes, because when I first started with the NEA, I didn't realize that it made it look like I had a lot of protection and help. But now that I'm looking into it, it's probably, to me, it's not as supportive as I thought it was. Whereas with AAE, I get $2 million, and they have a really simple way for me. If I have a labor issue, I can just fill out their form online, and within 8 to 12 hours, I can talk to someone legally about my issues or my concerns with my employment.
And it doesn't come from your pocket at first. It's not reimbursed. They are covering, AAE is covering it. It's very similar in Anchorage, Ben.
Okay, thank you. That was my next question, where I was headed with this. Garry, what about substitute teachers? I think, and this is just, I'm not a teacher, so I don't know for sure, but substitute teachers are not participating in unions here in the state. I don't know who the right question to ask that. Kim, is that true?
Yeah, that is true. NEA does not cover substitutes. There is an NEA retired organization that you can join. It's a one-time fee. I think when I joined NEA retired, that was in like 2008. I think it was like $300 or $400 one-time fee, and then now currently it's close to $500 to $600 for NEA retired. I don't know all the benefits of NEA retired. I don't feel like there's a whole lot there, but substitutes, you are correct. Substitutes are not covered or represented at all by the local association or by NEA. And that was another exciting thing when I heard that substitutes could join AAE, and that the retired teachers, I think it's like $39 a year for a retired teacher to join. And I thought that is huge. I mean, I love that about AAE.
Garry, can you give us any more details on that? Is that how does that happen?
Yeah. Well, any educator or any individual, let's put it that way, that gets a W-2 form from an educational entity. Those are the legal words. Anybody that gets a W-2 form from an educational entity can belong to us, and that doesn't matter whether you're a classroom teacher, whether you're a substitute, whether you're a para, whether you are a school bus driver, custodial staff, administrative assistants, administrators, anybody, IT, anybody that works for a school district and gets a W-2 form can join us. And the cost is $19.50 a month, $234 a year. Like I said, we've been around 31 years. We just keep growing and growing. We're battle tested, and we keep growing because educators are happy with the support that they get, the coverage that they get, and the fact that we're nonpartisan. We're not going to use their money to promote political candidates. They appreciate that as well.
So is this addressing the whole collective bargaining thing that many people think of when they think of as belonging to a union or association? Is this addressing that in any manner in Alaska?
Well, if I can, let me answer that from my perspective. Educators that are working, again, any individual working in a school, they have really three choices. They can choose to join the union, they can choose to join us, or they can choose not to belong to anything. The Mark Janus Supreme Court decision from 2018 made every educator in the United States right to work. Kansas, fortunately, has always been right to work. But there were 21 states in the United States where there were educators that were forced to belong to the union as a condition of employment. I don't know where Alaska was in that, but with the Mark Janus decision, it allowed educators to have that choice. So I don't recommend somebody not belonging to a professional association if they're working with kids, just simply because you never know. In my position, I'm the guy that gets the phone calls from educators when something has happened and they want support. It could be that they just have a question. I'm not an attorney, so if it's a legal issue, I'm going to send them right on to our national legal team, and they're going to work with them up to the point where it requires local legal counsel, and then we're going to hire an attorney locally for them to be helped. So that's kind of how our program works, and people seem satisfied with that, and we keep growing because of it.
Will local contract negotiations still cover that teacher, or are they going to be left out in the wind?
Yeah, if it goes back to what the three choices are. They can choose to join us, and ultimately that has no bearing on their relationship to the local. They have an opportunity to belong to whatever professional association, if any, they want to. And so whether they choose to belong to the union, whatever that is, they can. And if they choose not to, they're still covered under the contract. And it doesn't change that relationship. They're still under the auspices of the negotiated agreement for that particular local.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that's going to be a question with some teachers as to whether or not they leave or joining this organization means they leave the whole collective bargaining and who's going to take care of my job process that currently exists. I guess maybe the distinction here to draw is a relationship between the teacher and the local who's doing the negotiation, and a teacher in a relationship with the state or national union, can the teacher choose which one of those they want to support? Like if they want to just support the local, can they just support the local for negotiations, or what's the, I mean, that's a question in my mind since I'm not a teacher.
Yeah, I would recommend that if that is a concern of theirs, that they ask the local how much their local dues are. And I would have very much been happy to support my local when I was teaching, but I wasn't going to belong to the state and the national. I just gotten to the point where I didn't agree with them. And so I encourage any educator, if that's a concern, ask them what their local dues are. And I think what they will do is they will say, well, you can't belong to just the local. You have to belong to the local, state, and national. And my response is, well, I wasn't going to do that. That's not my problem. So because they're not willing to take my local dues, I guess we're going to leave it there.
Okay.
Because I wasn't going to join the state and the national.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Gary. I think that helps clear it up for me. And it probably makes more sense to teachers who are dealing with this on a daily basis, because it's not something in my wheelhouse, like I said earlier.
Yeah, so Ben, can I just jump in for a second?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Kim.
I'm just going to kind of repeat, because sometimes you need to hear it a couple of times. So as an educator, if I am not a member of the recognized negotiating group right now, if I just don't have anything, I don't have AAE, I don't have anything, that recognized negotiated group is responsible to represent me, whether I am associated with anybody or if I'm associated with nobody. And as a former rights chair in our local, I know I have experienced the fact that they've said, well, they're not a member, and so we don't really have to put as much effort into them. And that is not true. They are the negotiated body that is being recognized, and they have to cover everyone. And so if you feel like, oh, I have to be a member so that I can be covered, that is not necessarily true. They are responsible for representing you, whether you're a member of their association or a different association or no association.
Representation in the collective bargaining, correct, Kim?
Yes, and for that contract. Correct. So if there's a grievance, or if there's an employment issue, they are responsible. That's who the HR department is going to go to and say, we have an employee which we have an issue with, and that they're the group that has said we represent educators, we represent people. So yeah, that's their responsibility. They may not always do that, but that's what they're supposed to do in those situations as well.
But let me tag off of that too and say that if that particular individual is a member of AAE, we're going to be there to support them. We're going to be there, even though the local may not want to help them. That's where we come in, and we're going to do our very best to try to support that particular member in whatever their situation is.
Okay. This is a fascinating conversation, and I, at risk of getting down into the weeds here, but when we say that the local has to represent the teachers, that is because there is a relationship probably at the state level that recognizes that local union, that local association, as responsible for representing all of the teachers or all of the certified right. staff in that school district. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting thing. If they've got the responsibility, then I guess it's upon them to figure out how they maintain their membership. If your members don't want to pay you and you have a responsibility to represent them, how do you represent them? Like that, there's a disconnect here that I don't quite understand.
What they have to, the only thing that they have to represent them on is are questions about the contract. Things that deal with the contract, because that local, which is affiliated with the state and the national, they are the ones that negotiated the contract. So if there's a problem with the contract, then the local, state, and national has to support them because they are responsible for the contract. Now, if there is a AAE member who belongs to us and is having those kind of issues, we're going to be walking right along with them to support them because, as Kim said, they're probably not real interested in supporting them because they're not paying for it. But that's where we come in. But the bottom line is that they are responsible in contract issues to support that teacher, whether they belong to them or not.
When you say support, are you talking about legal support, legal advice at that point?
Well, let's just say an example. Let's say that as a cross country coach, they're not paying me what the contract says for whatever reason, and I'm doing the job, and I haven't done anything wrong, but the contract says I should get this amount, and they're saying no, we're going to pay you this amount. That, because it's contract related, the group that negotiated the contract should be there to support me. Now, I can guarantee you AAE is going to be walking right along with that member, but that's an example of where the contract issue should be supported by the local because they have control of the contract negotiations.
And the person that's going to be helping from AAE is somebody who has experience with contract negotiations, is a lawyer, or is somebody that has experience with that?
Right. We have employment rights attorneys who not only work with us at the national level, but also at the state levels as well.
Okay. Well, that's very helpful. I think there's probably an entire podcast that we could probably do on that process alone. At least there's a lot of questions in my head still, but I think for in the interest of time today, I think we'll leave it at that unless there's another comment here that somebody wants to make. Not hearing any. Okay. Well, I think we'll move on from there. I'm going to ask an open-ended question here for each of you. Is there something that we have not, that I didn't ask about, that we need to talk about that you think is important before we close the show today? Garry, I'll start with you.
I think we've covered everything. I just, when I was a coach, I went to lots of kids in my school and tried to get them to come out for my sport. And I realized that not every child was going to join my cross country program or my track and field program. But what I think was really important was to give them the option, give them the choice. And some chose to, join my program. We were very successful, had a lot of outstanding teams, a lot of outstanding individuals. But the important thing is choice. And that's what we're providing with the Association of American Educators. I take the same perspective as the Central Region Director for the Association of American Educators that I took when I was coaching. I want people to do what's best for them and take a look and see what the value we offer as a professional association.
Aimee, do you have any closing comments that you would like to make?
Yes, we here in Anchorage are hoping to bring some teachers also to the Zoom on September 18th. We're working on a location. We don't have one yet where we can meet together, but we will be a part of that Zoom. And if you're interested as an Anchorage teacher being a part of that, you may contact me at my email. Do you mind if I share my email?
Oh, please go right ahead.
Okay, it's Aimee Sims 98 at gmail.com. My name's spelled a little differently. It's AIMEESIMS 98 at gmail.com. And I would love to have you join us for that September 18th, 5 p.m. with that Zoom to learn more about the choices we do have as teachers.
Thank you for spelling that out. I'm also married to an Aimee with a unique spelling of a name, so very important. Kim, what are your closing thoughts today?
I think one of the big takeaways from today that I'm hearing a lot is I didn't know about it and I have a choice. And I think back to when I started my teaching certification program, it was a career change for me from petroleum to education. And I remember being at Antioch University in Seattle, and they had a representative from NEA there. And it wasn't like you have a choice. It's like, this is what good teachers do. You join this association. And so I did it because I'm a rule follower, and I did that without questioning it. And I'm a little sad that I didn't take the opportunity to look for something else. I just went with it and tried to make it meet what I thought was a professional organization for me. So I'm so excited to know that there is an option. There are choices. And as an educator, if you're a new educator, please reach out and explore what options you have. I'm going to give my phone number because my email is really long. But if you're interested in the Zoom and want the Zoom link to, I think it's an invitation for the Zoom link. It's my phone number is 907-252-7251, and just reach out. Or even if you just have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think this is a very, very important topic and very worthy of further public information getting out. And I'm happy to help with that in this regard. Appreciate you guys joining with me today. Folks, if you've listened and or watched this on YouTube and you want to support what you've heard, please head over to mustreadalaska.com, click on the donate link, help us keep the lights on. Until next time, stay frosty, Alaska.